Welcome guys, this is a series of guides for the sockets and gems of the Path of Exile for beginners. So for this part of the guide, we'll be looking at the amount of sockets and colors for the gear, and also how do you roll for the sockets, and what are the hidden tricks with rolling as well. So right away, to highlight things, you can have up to one socket on the rings. You can have one socket on the belt for the special belt, which is called the Stinging Vest. You can have up to 3 sockets on a single hand weapon. You can have 3 sockets on the shield, 6 sockets up to with 2-hand weapon. You can have maximum 4 sockets on the gloves, helmet, and also the boots. You can have maximum of 6 sockets on the gears of the armor. So those are the ones. You can't have sockets on the amulet, but you can also enchant the amulet for different perks, which we'll touch on in a different time. So knowing the maximum amount of sockets, the next thing is we can actually roll for sockets. So the items allows us to roll for the number of sockets on an item, which are those over here, the Jeweler's Orb. The Jeweler's Orb is actually allowing us to roll for the number of sockets. So if I put this in here, which is my little crafting bench, if I use the Jeweler's socket here, you actually randomly roll anywhere from 1 to 4 sockets. And keep in mind, this is random and it's actually very hard to roll into a 6 socket item. It costs about anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 Jeweler's Orb to roll into a 6 socket item, and it's much easier to roll for 3 or 1 or 4 sockets. One thing also is, if you keep rolling for this, what's going to happen is, once you can hold on to shift and you can keep clicking it, once you find the one you wanted, it won't let you roll anymore. Notice it says the item is already at the maximum socket. It won't let you roll away from that anymore. So this item is going to be fixed on the 4 sockets. It's a good thing because you don't want to roll to a perfect socket, then it takes away into 1 socket. So keep that in mind. If you roll into a maximum available sockets on an item, it can't be rolled anymore. So you can't socket anymore. After having the maximum amount of sockets on an item, that's really good for us. Next thing to look at is, how do I change the colors of the sockets? There's 2 ways to do it. One is, of course, I can use the chrono orbs and I can just change it randomly. And notice it's just changing randomly between the 4. And you might be asking, oh gosh, I really want some red colors, or if I want some blue colors, how do I get those? This is a very important part to look at. If you look into the requirement level and stats here, this item requires 99 DX. What that means is, this item is majority DX driven and actually purely DX driven. This means it's a high chance of the item rolling for 1, 2, 3 or 4 of the green sockets. And that is going to be the case for this item because it's purely DX. If you look at a different item, that this glove requires 155 STR, 58 DX and 68 intelligence. This item has 3 requirements for different stats, and this means this item have a chance of rolling for any of the sockets with high chance of the red sockets. So the trick here is knowing the item have a tendency of rolling for a different socket color. Higher STR item requirement means it's going to roll for lots of the red sockets. Higher DX means it's going to roll for lots of the green sockets. Higher intelligence item like this one here, it's going to roll lots of the blue sockets. So if that's the case, you really want to look into, hey, do I need lots of blue sockets? If I don't need blue sockets, how do I roll for other sockets? You can try randomly. I'll show you guys again. Notice it keeps rolling into the green sockets, and that's not good because I want the blue ones, I want the red ones. And what we can do is, we can also come over here. So if you put this item into the crafting bench, which you find in the end game, which we pretty much not only in end game, you actually make the game, you will actually find a crafting bench. You actually want to look into here. You can also roll for the sockets here. It guarantees 3 sockets and 2 sockets when you roll for those, but it's not going to do that because we already have 4 sockets. This is actually fun. So what I want to share with you guys is that it forces a lot of green sockets, so I don't need the option for green sockets. If I need red sockets, I need 2, 3 or 1 red sockets. I can actually spend 25 chrono orbs to forcefully have 2 red sockets guaranteed. Similarly for blue sockets. This means I can kind of balance the unfavorable numbers of green sockets that's going to be shown for me, because this item is going to be majority green sockets. So if I select this one and I click craft, it's going to guarantee 2 red, and the rest 2 will be rendered. Very high chance those rest 2 will be the green ones. So this is how I managed to get some of my red sockets within an item that is dominantly with intelligence, or some of the items here can be dominantly with other stats. This one's very heavy on intelligence, so what I did with this particular gear is I put this in. I actually wrote for the fact of 1 red and 1 green. Because it's so high on intelligence, it guarantees the last one was intelligence. And this cost me 15 chrono orb, but in reality, if you actually randomly rolls, it's very hard to get it, so keep that in mind. So those are the tricks of rolling and socketing for items, and hopefully you guys find it helpful. This will help you save some currency and take you into the late game further. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more Path of Exile guides. Thank you guys.